You don't want none.
I'm good, I believe I die. 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 I'm good, I believe I die.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chapel Hill. We are in Moorhead parking lot. If you happen to be in the area of Chapel Hill, Tar from Allen Hill, and he will be joining us right here pretty soon as well. Man, it is a good time to be in Chapel Hill today. I am with my buddy, good Mr. Tory Clyburn, longtime friend of the show, longtime friend to myself and Mr. Allen. We absolutely appreciate you being here in Chapel Hill on a beautiful, beautiful day.
This is amazing. This is only my third time here, but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting used to it now, man. We're on Franklin Street,
Yeah.
Moorhead Planetarium. You're just right here, camped out by the street, man.
Yeah.
And we're doing this amazing show.
All the Franklin Street storming happens all right here behind us. We have the sundial sitting right here, and we have had an interesting 12 to 14 hours in in lieu to this here stream, man. It has been an absolute what do you want to call it? Experience, maybe?
Yeah, it's an experience. Most things are experience, man.
So much, and I cannot wait to break a lot of this stuff down with you on, maybe later on in the show. We have about an hour. We're going to be knocking this thing out. Alan will be joining us tonight. Tonight, I'm used to doing these things at night, man. This is different for me. This is a brand new morning, man. I had some coffee this morning. I'm feeling right. I'm feeling good. Stayed at a little Marriott hotel. What is it? No, just about 20 minutes out of Chapel Hill. Real nice place. Nice place to lay your bed down, even though we didn't get there till like 1 o'clock in the morning.
The experience, man.
The 60 experience. We were supposed to get there at 11:30, and that tells you everything you need to know right there. So it's been a night, but we are happy. We didn't know we were going to get to stay here in Moorhead parking lot, but thankfully it seems like today it's open. We tried to pay for parking. It said it was free, so we're going to hang out. So if anything happens during the stream, I apologize. I'm sorry. I was going to go get that out of the way here. We even had to switch cameras. So normally we use a different camera, but that camera was so washed out. It was so bad, man. It was so bad. So we're going to be having Alan's going to be on here in a little bit. He said that he potentially could be coming up this way sometime today. Maybe we'll see. But also we're going to be having Russ the Tar Heel. He is scheduled to be on. I told him to call in anytime within the hour, and we're going to have ourselves a great time. But Tori, we have got a spring game to talk about today, buddy.
Yes, we do.
Got a lot of stuff going up here, man.
Yeah.
Tell me, what's your favorite storyline going into this thing?
Oh man, I'm taking the Band-Aid all right off, man. We're talking about this quarterback battle
Yeah.
that's going on. That is my favorite. You know, getting information from you and other people, you know, that's inside Carolina and all and people like that. Uh, you know, they say Drake May, you know, really didn't have a quarterback battle. That's what they say. They didn't really have a quarterback battle.
Yeah.
He was the guy. But this seems like an actual battle. You got Max, who's coming in. He's been playing for a while at LSU,
LSU and Texas A&M.
And then you got Connor, the young guy who's coming in. He did play in the bowl against what was it, West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah,
that was a sad day. I was there.
Yeah, he's got some experience, but you know, Tar Heels wasn't all put together at that game. So I mean, you got those different dynamics you know, playing against each other, and we really don't know who the guy is. You would think it will be Max, but Connor Harrell got something to say about that, man. So I mean, I like to see it. I like to see the competitiveness. Connor said it himself, he's ready to compete. Like he's ready.
Yeah.
He's been ready to do that. So that's what I like to see.
Redshirt sophomore came in Drake's first year. He watched the battle between Drake and Jacoby very closely, and it was a interesting few months there as they talked about the differences between the two quarterbacks and how close and tightly, you know, contested they were. People would wonder if that really was the case. There were people that were there that are insiders that we listen to on a pretty frequent basis that, you know, said that maybe there was at one point, but it kind of quickly turned over to Drake. And it was the kind of the assumption there is that Drake May would start against FAMU, which we were here for.
Oh, yeah.
And sure enough, that happened. But Connor Harrell and Max Johnson are two insanely, I think they're not insanely, but they're really good quarterbacks, and they have the potential to be, but they're very different. You know, so we look at Max Johnson first. He's been a 4-year guy in the SEC. He's played 2 years at LSU, 2 years at Texas A&M. He started in some big-time games for both of those schools. Unfortunately, in Texas A&M, he got hurt, and he was started over. And then this past season, he lost the starting job. The quarterback got hurt. He had to step back in, and then he got hurt on top of it. So it's been kind of an interesting 4 years for Max Johnson. He does have a redshirt year that he had, so he does still have 2 more years of eligibility, one for being redshirt and the other one being for injury. So he has 2 years of eligibility. This will be his first of those 2 years, and he's looking to seemingly use them at Carolina, where he predicts and believes that he will come in and be the starter. And so does Mac Brown. Let's look at Connor Harrell. Redshirt sophomore, came in and has waited his turn. And there was a rumor, you know, I kind of mentioned this to you the other day, where if people remember, there was some reporting coming out during the off season where Drake and Jacoby were battling back and forth. And there was a thought that maybe Connor Harrell could be one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in that room at the time. I believe, in my opinion, he is definitely second best in that room at that time. You know, Drake, obviously, he's getting ready to go pro next week, man. And evidently him and Sam are up here somewhere. So maybe we'll run into them today. That'd be nice. If they happen to be walking down the street, hey, we'll see if we can't get them on for you guys.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
On the show, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see what Connor does. I think he is a guy that he's not as tall as Max Johnson. Max is listed at 6'5", sometimes 6'6", back and forth. So we'll say 6'5" for now. He is generally your pocket quarterback. He's a left-handed thrower, which is very different, very different. And I'm curious to see what he does. They had the live spring practice. And what's going on, Tar Heel Ron? Good to see you, buddy. As a matter of fact, Tori, I don't know if you remember this or not, Tar Heel Ron sat right in front of us at FAMU, and that was the remember there was a father and a son that was there.
Yeah.
That's him. That's him.
What's
Showing
up,
up,
man?
So Tar Heel Ron.
What's up, baby?
Tar Heel Ron with
That's
us all
it.
the way time. I love that so much, man. But looking forward to seeing how this battle goes between these two players. And Connor Harrell has taken the bowl game and everything that happened in that bowl and has studied it. He was a valedictorian of his school. down in Alabama. He won 3 state championships, if I remember correctly. And this dude's smart. He's uber athletic. He's fast, man. I think they say that he could potentially run a 4.4, which is, I mean, I don't know about you, but I couldn't nowhere near come close to a 4.4 at all. I'd be lucky to get a 7.4 or something of that nature.
7.4, wow. 7.4.
Yeah. So he's shown the arm talent. You go back into the bowl game, he's definitely shown that arm talent, and he's shown the ability to make some good plays. Now, obviously, West Virginia, his first start, it was the first time in his collegiate career he's been able to say, hey, this is my team, and I'm the quarterback of this team, and I'm going to go out here and I'm going to run this higher offense the way I want to.
Right.
And you saw it, and you saw the rookiness in him, but you also saw a guy that had an offensive line that night that was god-awful, that went out and did everything that he could to give the Tar Heels the best chance that they possibly could to win that game.
Right.
You know, missing a lot of starters on that team, none of which in the offensive line, which, you know, we kind of get to the offensive line a little bit later, that I'm kind of glad a lot of those guys are gone. So I'm curious to see how that goes as well, man. So we're going to have a battle here tonight, man. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
This afternoon is going to be a good time. I'm honestly glad that it's not publicized, even though, don't get me wrong, it's public. People have camera phones. We have camera phones. It's just what it is. But it's different when you put your film, a full game's worth, just commercial breaks in between timeouts, on tape for other teams, because you got Minnesota coming up in a few months.
Yeah.
And you got to go to Minneapolis.
So tell me, why did they do this? What, in your opinion?
So we had this conversation coming up here, and at first I was kind of, I was a little baffled by it, but then I started to think about it, and then I also started to listen to a few other of the insiders and a few people that I just knew, and we got to talking about it, and I started listening to what they had to say, and they posted, and I liked some of the points that they had there. So basically, what I believe is, number one, you got your quarterback battle going on.
Yeah.
And you really don't want to put that on display. I don't think you want to put your young receivers on display, because I think these collegiate, these big time colleges, we had it happen this year with the offensive tackle, Diego Pounds. He got poached to Ole Miss.
Wow.
NIL money. And I think these wide receivers are really, really good. And you're not guaranteed these days. Like Omarion Hampton right now, he could leave and go make a buku's amount of money at another SEC school.
Yeah.
He could go somewhere else and make a ton of money and be really good, but he chose to stay here and be here. I don't know how much longer you're going to have that.
Yeah.
We kind of talk about it right now with guys like RJ Davis and things that, just working it and sticking with the system and sticking with the program that brought you in and the mission that they shown you during recruitment. I don't know how much longer that's going to be possible here. So in a sense, especially when you have some freshman wide receivers like you do, oh my God, these wide receivers, Jordan Shipp and Alex Taylor are going to be two guys we're going to be talking about for a while. Paul Billups is another one who's been here for a year or so, and they're going to be talking about him as well. I feel like he's big guy, big athletic, but you don't want to tip your cap at all, especially defensively with a new defensive coordinator. And you don't want to have what Jeff Collins is going to do, because nobody expects North Carolina to be aggressive. And that's what I believe that Jeff Collins is bringing. He's bringing aggression. He's talked about it. He's a high-energy dude. You look at any stop he's made in his coaching career, whether it be head coach or defensive coordinator, wherever it was, if a defense had his name tied to it, it was extremely aggressive. And he keeps talking about blitz packages and bringing pressure and shifting the pressure from each side. That way the quarterback never knows where it's coming from because it shifts so much. Disguising. They have been giving Chip Lindsey hell. And the offense hell. They have been giving the offense an absolute, just a crapshoot sometimes. But it makes both the defense and the offense better.
And this is Collins' second year, right?
This is his first year.
First year. Okay.
First year. The past two seasons under Gene Chizik did not go as planned. You have Ted Monachino, who was brought in last year to be an analyst.
Oh, that's who I'm thinking about. Ted.
Yeah, Ted Monachino was brought in last year to be an analyst on the defensive line. Honestly, if you look at it, so go back during that time when he was brought in, they were going to pass a rule. The NCAA was going to pass a rule to bring in and let the analysts coach, right? That's what was going to happen. Well, they did never pass that rule. So basically last year, and Omarion Hampton is a beast, guys. I see you guys, Tar Heel and Allen. I see you both. Omarion Hampton is a beast, and he's going to be one, I think, for a few minutes today, and then he sits down pretty quickly. But Ted Monachino was brought in last year to be your defensive line coach. Really. You didn't want to let go of Tim Cross because he is so good recruiting. That's why when they let go of Dre Bly, everybody was really wondering how that was going to be.
Yeah.
And you brought in Jason Jones. You wondered how that was going to be because Dre Bly is so good at recruiting. And so is Tim Cross. He's a guy, he loves him. But you also thought there was going to be a mass exodus out of the D-line room. And you got good talent there. It just hasn't been unlocked. But Monachino was brought in. So was Clyde Christensen on the offensive side. And they didn't let either one of them coach. So another bad year on the defensive line. Tim Cross has to go. It has to happen. And Mack Brown knows it. He doesn't want to get rid of him because Tim Cross is a dear friend. They've succeeded together at Texas. They love each other, man. They're good friends. But it was time to let him go. But it was also time to let Gene Chizik go too. So there's going to be a lot of newness. And I don't think that Mack Brown wants to give a ton of film. Obviously, there's going to be some videos that get out, but you don't want a ton of film coming out 4 months ahead of Minnesota. That's what I think.
And you think more so because of the newness of it all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those freshmen who are good. You got Collins first year, Ted Monachino, who's actually coaching the defensive line now.
Mm-hmm.
So all the newness, you don't want to put it out there.
No, I don't think you want to put it out there as much. Which, you could say that about a bunch of programs over the country.
Yeah.
But North Carolina, too, and this is my last one here. Hype. North Carolina's biggest mortal enemy has been hype. Think about all the years we've been hyped since Mack's return, man. Come in 10th in the nation, not ready. Mack Brown saying this like something ain't right with this team. We didn't practice well. We're not doing this right. And he's talked about it since. Like, we believed our own hype, and we shouldn't have. And Mack Brown even talked about it in his last presser. He's talking about, nobody's hyping us. Nobody's hyping. And he keeps, throwing that at them. Like, nobody's hyping us. Nobody's hyping us. Nobody's hyping us.
They want a little bit of superstition, huh? Yeah. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Just a smidge there. What was the, Allen, you can help me with this. What was the, they used it last year, and it pissed me off when they did because it was against Virginia. It was a slogan that basically said, like, don't mess up. Allen, if you're in the comments still, let me put that in there because I remember it, and it pissed me off when they did that, because when they did it, that was the game that they lost. That was the game. But it was basically still, don't mess up, don't believe the hype. Go out there and fight just like you're the worst team in the country. Fight with a grit, like you're 0-6.
Nothing to lose, right?
Right, nothing to lose. But yeah. So I'm curious to see from your perspective, defensively. I mean, we've saw this defense for 5 years.
Yeah,
we've saw it be decent in their first year. Had a moment, probably the best season was the Orange Bowl year, which was the second year. After that, piss poor. What do you think? What do you think Carolina needs to change defensively?
More energy, less mistakes. Explosive defense. You got to get to the quarterback, like Max said. You sack a quarterback, you legitimately stop that drive from happening.
It's hard for an 80 play drive to happen.
Right. So you got to get to that quarterback. You got to put some pressure. You got to have some energy. I think these are what these guys are bringing to the table as far as like Collins and Monachino. Why is it so important to have NFL experience on a team like the Tar Heels?
Honestly, not even just because of a team like the Tar Heels, but I think on any football team, they're especially I guess you can call it Power 4 now, but there are players on this team that want to get to the next level. One big one right now in the D line everybody's talking about is Travis Shaw. Big time 5-star coming out a couple of seasons ago. comes in, and he has not put up the talent that he was supposed to. Same, another person on the D line, again, Des Evans. Started to have he had a lot better of a year last year. He's one-year edge rushers and had a lot better of a season last year. I believe that was help of Ted Monachino and a little, because he got to work with edge rushers a little bit, more exclusively. But bringing guys in like Chris Simmons, Bill Simmons, I'm sorry.
Bill Simmons.
Bringing him in.
Right.
Letting him get into the program and start getting in these guys' ears. I think it's good. Not only that, but these guys have coached the best ever. Ted Monachino coached guys like Terrell Suggs, Khalil Mack, who's by the way, who is still wrecking havoc right now. Right. Jeff Kahn's a guy that's worked with a guy like Fletcher Cox. I mean, think about that. Clyde Christensen working with Tom Brady, Andrew Luck. I know there's another one. Was it Peyton Manning? Peyton Manning, I believe it was. And Jameis Winston, working with those guys. You want those guys coming in there, getting in these guys' ears and making them better, not only for their own future, but if they get better and they can teach them techniques that they're using in the pros. A lot of guys in college don't really know that stuff. They don't. And if you have that NFL experience on your side and maybe another team doesn't, you've got an edge there. I think 8 wins. Yeah. 8 wins doesn't happen at UNC very often, Alan. That is one thing that he said, but it was something like something about the cheese, whatever the cheese is. Something about the cheese, Alan. Look that up. Because I can't. Don't eat the poison cheese. Is that what it is?
Poison cheese?
I think that's what it was. Alan might be able to help me with that, but I believe it was don't eat the poison cheese, if I remember correctly here. But we'll take a look at that. But I want to talk to you about the star players on this team. Let's talk about Kaimon Rucker. How important is him on this team this year? Didn't need to come back. He honestly probably could have got drafted.
Right.
What do you think his importance is?
I mean, you got a guy with experience, a guy who's just, he's a role model. He sets the example. He's a guy that, does everything right, does the drills right, takes everything serious, a high energy guys. He's ready to get it, and he's ready to play. He's ready to compete. To have a guy like that out there, and then to see those other young guys and those other guys, it's going to rub off.
Yeah,
it's got to rub off. It has no other option to rub off. And you need those kind of players on a team if you're trying to get more than 9 or 10 wins, in a season. If you're trying to have playoff hopes, you need explosive play and guys like that can give you the edge, because I mean, when we're good, we're good. But then when we're not good in the game, how can we still win? That's the biggest question. And you need those superstars, those kind of guys that can give you that edge.
Yeah, that and rile up your team and get them excited and everything. So, I am really looking forward to seeing how he does this year. He's going to be in the number 7, which is going to be different. 25 for 4 years, and now you got the number 7 on it. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about it.
What's up with that, man? Like, why he changed?
Well, he did the first spring press conference that they had with him. They asked him about it. He said, number change. He said, yeah. And basically the short story of it all was that his dad wore 75 and he wanted to wear a number. He wanted to change his number, I think, years ago, but he was an underclassman, so he couldn't. Yeah. And now that he's got the chance, he wanted to do it. He said he's going to wear basically 75, but he's going to drop the 5.
Okay.
Yeah, people were asking like 2 + 5 = 7. Like, there you go, 25. No. He said sure, you can do whatever you want, but it's basically some type of like honoring his dad.
Right.
Which Dr. Rucker, man, he's awesome on Twitter. I'm not gonna lie. He likes a lot of our stuff, and we absolutely appreciate that, man. Every single time that he does that, because he's just a cool dude and everything. But unfortunately, I do have some bad news. I just got over the interwebs here. Got an email from Russ, the Tar Heel. He unfortunately had to go into work.
Oh, goodness.
So he will not be with us today. We will get up with him whenever we can. I'm very excited to talk to him about some of this quarterback battle stuff. I'm looking forward to it. But we're getting ready to get now into the most important side of the football.
Yes.
Because if this don't work, nothing works. You know what I'm talking about?
Mac Brown?
No.
Position
Groups. The trenches. Because
offensive line
and defensive line.
Yeah.
Both lines of scrimmage. Because if they don't come after it and get after it and cause any type of wreak and havoc, and if the offensive line can't protect the quarterback and create gaps for the running back, and the defensive line can't get after the quarterback and put some pressure on them, North Carolina's not going to win that many games this year.
No.
And they've been getting away with it for 5 years now because they had 2 rock star quarterbacks who was wandering around this place somewhere. We will find them at some point in time here. But tell me, man, what you think about the line of scrimmages, and what do you believe they need to do to change?
Just like I said before on the defensive end, you got to have some energy on the offensive line. They do have the guys that look good on paper,
Oh, they're pretty.
Oh, yeah, man. 6'8", big old guys. What's his name?
2 6'8" tackles. You got Howard Sampson. And, oh, Jesus. It's not Ja'Kai Leftwich. It's Travion Green.
Yeah. And then you also got Lampkin on there. And he's not as big, but, man, he's a hard worker, though.
Yes.
Hey, he'll get it. He'll get it. He'll fight, put up a fight with the best of them. So, hey, I mean, you got those guys, and I think they need a cohesion. They need to understanding. They need to build that chemistry. They need to feed into who's the offensive line coach.
Oh, you got Randy Clements.
Yeah,
love that dude so much.
Yeah, I mean, just like Mac Brown said, you got to coach these guys up. You got to coach them up. They got to do a better job of coaching. And I think, just like how we was all hyped over the Panthers coaching staff, and they put all new coaches in. I'm hyped over this coaching staff. So I think these kids need to know that, hey, this is it. Like, this is what we need to do. We're here. We need to get over the hump.
Right.
That's what it is. That Willie said he's playing with a chip on the shoulder, and I hope he keeps that chip the whole rest of the season, man. After spring, and when the season starts, keep that chip. Give some of the chip to the other guys, man, because they need it, man. They wasn't as good as expected. Drake had some trouble this past season. I mean, he's playing off some injuries. I think they just need to protect their quarterback, man, especially with these new quarterbacks that's coming in.
Yeah. So as a matter of fact, you brought the line of scrimmage, and some news broke yesterday that North Carolina got a commit from a is this a D lineman? This is a D lineman, a 4-star defensive lineman out of the state of Kentucky. Wow. Guy by the name of Austin Alexander. He'll be coming in next year's class. He's 6'3" right now, currently weighs 243 pounds. He'll obviously beef up a little bit more once he gets here. But this is actually the first North Carolina Kentucky commit in the modern era.
Wow.
In the football. Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool to see that, where our reach is getting out there. Also, we've gotten into Florida a lot. That's where you get a quarterback like Mike Merdinger coming in and being your third string. And I'm really excited to see what happens on the offensive line. Now, they've got a lot of young guys. Like Howard Sampson did not play much at North Texas. He was brought in by Randy Clements, who came from North Texas, brought in by him, didn't play a whole lot, and now he's coming in a Power 5 school. And we're going to get to see him up front and personal today, and he's been playing with the blue team. He's been playing with the starters. So there is a level of trust that they are putting into him that, we really hope that he comes out on. He did come in saying that he's a project. He's a 3-year guy. He's got 3 years eligibility. He plans on being here for 3 more seasons. So, I mean, that's good to hear, reassuring to know. Now, if he has a breakout season, we'll see at that point what happens. A lot of people believe that Diego Pounds would leave, but he did. But you have him. You have Travion Green. You have Jonathan Adorno, who's been here for a couple of seasons now. You brought in Austin Blasky from Georgia. You have Willie Lampkin sitting right there. They had Janai Norwood, who came in, and he was kind of flip-flop between defensive line and offensive line. I've heard that he's more on the offensive line side of things now. So I'm excited to see what he will do for this team. They're obviously still looking for offensive linemen in the portal. You have Zach Rice sitting there battling it out. And I feel like there's another. You got Ja'Kai Leftwich coming in from Georgia Tech in a couple of months during fall camp, because the way when he transferred, the timing of it all, he wasn't allowed to join the team yet during spring, so it was unfortunate. He was able to come to practice, but he could just be a bystander. That's all he could do. He couldn't participate in any sort of fashion there. But looking forward to seeing what the offensive line does. And they're young, and I'm curious to see how they do. If the good news is, I hear that they're a pretty tight-knit group. I just hope that it translates to good results on the football field. I don't expect them to go out there and be absolutely amazing. I don't expect them to go out there and be even great. I just want solid, consistent, keyword, consistent play on the offensive line.
Right.
Let's look at the defensive line. This is a great conversation. Let's run the line down.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Bo Atkinson, Des Evans, and Kamen Rucker as your edge rushers there. Now, what I am excited about, Bo Atkinson is a guy who's been here for a couple of seasons now, has had some time. He got to play a little bit more last year behind Des. You had Amari Gaynor and Kamen Rucker last year. So you had some jacks there. It's now called the rush position now. But there's packages built in this new Jeff Collins era that all three of those guys, and they've all three shown that they can get to the quarterback. Yeah. So if there's packages with all three of them in there, that tells me right there that hot dog, a quarterback, might want to look out when you have these three dudes coming up. Because Bo Atkinson, he looks like an old-fashioned farm boy. He's just built, man. He's just built, and he just plays with an edge to him, and I really like him, and I'm excited for him. But this conversation really comes down to the interior linemen. Your Travis Shaws, your Jahvaree Ritzies, your Kevin Hesters of the world. It's what it really comes down to. And no Miles Murphy this year, which honestly I think he should have stayed another year because I think he needed it, but that's just me. I hope he does well. I hope he gets drafted next week, but I still think he should have come back home for one more season. But it's all about the interior. I'm not worried about the edge rushers. Edge rushers are fine.
They're going to do what they do.
Right.
They're going to bring that pressure.
Kamen's gonna get his.
Right.
He's one of the top edge rushers in the country for a reason. Des Evans gotten better. Bo Atkinson, I think he's ready to pop off this year. But if the interior linemen can't generate some type of pressure to where a quarterback has no way to escape, and they either have to just throw a ball and hope it connects or find out which one they want to get hit by, or check it down, just throw it out of bounds, something. Carolina's not going to do much this year because, don't get me wrong, our corners and our safeties, I think our safety room is what needed a lot of – it needed an uplift, and you've got some safeties out there I like now. You got rid of your Geo Biggers and your what is that, Doc Chapman. They're no longer with us, which is good because, honestly, I thought safety play really hurt us over these past years. But you don't want to put them out, as good as they are, you don't want to put them out there on an island for way too long because eventually these wide receivers these days are so good, they're going to get open. It's going to happen. Yeah. So
it starts at the foundation, man.
Yes.
Bringing that pressure.
Yes.
Don't give them no time to, reassess and throw. I mean, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Pressuring. If you can't get to them, Did you make him change what he thought he was going to do? That's what it really is.
Right. And you got to stop the run. That's a big
Definitely.
one.
You got to stuff that hole up, man.
Oh my gosh. Watching West Virginia, they got to do whatever they want. 2 quarterback scrambles for 60 yards. Or I think it was 40 to 60 yards, somewhere in that nature. 2 of them.
There's a big run play that happened, for a lot of yards coming through. I think the A gap, just like it was like part of the Red Sea, and they just got a big play right there. I think that was right at the beginning of the game or something. Like this. I mean, that can't happen. Yeah. As your boy Pastor Max said, that can't happen. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, and then I remember the first play of the game for West Virginia. That was that like 80-yard touchdown catch. Yeah. Okay, they committed to the run, and one of the safeties missed the assignment, which has been a big talking point on this defense. Jeff Collins has talked about it. There has been a lot of issues of people missing assignments, and if that's the case, you're gonna get beat.
Right.
It's just gonna happen. You're going to get beat. So this team's got to come out. They've got to be. They've got to generate pressure. They got to wreak havoc. They have to do what they were hyped up to do. They got to perform to the talent level that they were rated as, and the talent level that they believe that they possess. It's time to show it, baby. And that's why Travis Shaw is the biggest conversation point on that D line, because if he starts to do what Travis Shaw can do, oh man, it's gonna be, you're gonna see a much improved line, and you're gonna see this defense take an uptick, because I think this much, North Carolina's got some good corners and they've got some good safeties, and I'm really excited to see what happens with this. But joining us now is the other half of your Hill Brothers. This man is awesome. He is also repping the brand new Hill Brothers t-shirt, which we will talk to you guys more about as we get on. I hope to see him on his way up here to the big blue town in Chapel Hill. He's currently listening to me. He is not coming because he sucks, but hype him up to bring him back down. Hype him up to bring him back down. But joining us now is my brother, Mr. Alan Mitten.
Hi.
What's going on, man?
I just got done Bryson's soccer game on the way to some Bojangles.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
No trip up to the Blue Town today, huh?
I ain't gonna be able to make cuz.
I hear you. So let's talk about this thing a little bit, man. We've got I've been seeing you consistently in the comments here, which I appreciate. But I want to talk to you
Mom
about
in the comments.
Yeah, even Mom in the comments there.
Goodness.
Mama Heel in the comments there. Might have to get her a t-shirt that says that or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good.
We'll figure that out. But talk to me a little bit about do I want to go quarterback battle, or do I want to go offensive and defensive line? Let's go with the line of scrimmage, because I think the lines of scrimmage, I think you'll really like to have that conversation.
Let's see, the offense. We'll start with the offensive line. I mean, you got 2 tanks on the edge, and Sampson and Green. 6. I mean, technically he's smaller than Baycott at 6'8", but he's like, I think they listed him at like 340, but I think in one of his interviews he said he was like high 350s, low 360s.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a mammoth of a man. But what you have in size, you lack in experience.
Yeah.
Sampson didn't start at Texas Southern?
North Texas.
Travion Green didn't start last year. You lose Diego Pounds. You lose a lot of production from last year. Well, if you call it production from last year. You still got Willie Lampkin at a guard spot. You got Blowski, is that how you say it?
Blasky.
Yeah. So you're gonna have him at center. Then Adorno. Yeah, Adorno at the other guard spot. So I mean, I think we got good pieces. Then you still.
I'm sorry, my God, you got Ja'Kai Leftwich coming in too.
Yeah.
He'll probably come straight into the starting role.
Yeah. So like I said, you still got a couple of them one or two transfers coming in the summertime. So I mean, it's just can they get them cohesive enough to protect?
Yeah.
And really, I mean, are they? You got Big O in the backfield. So are they going to be able to get off the ball to create lanes for him to run through? You would think that the line we had last year, if they could get Big O lanes to run through, you would think, we're a little bigger, a little stronger probably, that, he'd have some more lanes to run through. We'll switch it up to the defensive line real quick. I mean, the production you're going to get from Kamen Rucker. You're looking forward to Bo Atkinson, making that next step. He had some splash plays last season. You're going to want more consistency off the edge this season. Des Evans, he had a nice year last year. I think that you look at him, he's that prototypical edge rusher for the NFL, but he doesn't produce at that level in college. So you really want him to take, one or two steps forward. You want him to be producing and have the energy level and the aggressiveness that, Big Ruck has.
Right.
Up the middle, you're really going to rely on Travis Shaw. You hope he pans out, 5-star in his third season. Ritzy, another highly ranked recruit. You really need those two to anchor the middle. What's his?
Kevin Hester.
Yeah, that's his name. I appreciate you being there for me. You're going to need all three of those guys. The depth at that tackle position, I don't think is really deep. It's on the shallow when we're talking about depth. So you really will have to rotate them in, and you're going to need all three of them to get some kind of push up the middle. I'm interested to see what kind of like exotic pressures Jeff Collins brings. If it's going to be more linebackers, more safeties, more corners, a combination of all three.
I think it's going to be a little bit of everything. I'm so looking forward to that. Hope we get to see some of that tonight.
And everybody's blasting Mac Brown for not televising the spring game, but he televised the practice. So the spring game, you might get to see. There might be the ability to see some, instead of just vanilla stuff, as they like to call it.
Right.
You might get a small peek through the window of what Jeff Collins actually wants to do on the defensive end. So I'll be anxious to see what everybody says coming out of the spring game as what it looked like, for the people that ain't going to be able to see it.
Quarterback battle, man. We got Connor and Max Johnson. Personal opinion, I think Max Johnson was brought in to be the starter, and obviously you're going to have a quote unquote quarterback battle, but but I think ultimately that's what this thing's turned into, and I think Max Johnson was brought in to be the starter, but I think Connor's given him everything he can handle.
Yeah, I mean, if you read anything that the beat writers are writing about, the floor for Max Johnson is obviously higher than the floor for wow, his name literally just left my brain.
Connor?
Yes, Connor Harold. Jeez.
We're here for you. We're here for you, man.
Yeah, so Johnson's floor is higher than Harold's floor, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody seems to believe that Connor Harold's ceiling is much higher than Max Johnson's ceiling. So what you're hoping to see through spring and summer leading up, if if you have a rooting interest in who you want your starting quarterback to be, you want Harold's floor to raise to Max's floor through the spring and the summer. That way, that's an even playing field, and then you hope that throughout the season that Connor Harold can show you more of the ceiling and then surpass Mac Johnson. But Mac, you can't take Max Johnson's experience away from him. He has a ton of experience coming from the SEC, where supposedly it matters more. Who knows? But you can't. I mean, you can't take that away from him. He's seen it all. He's faced. Obviously, he's faced the Alabamas, the LSU's, the big dogs in the country.
Mm-hmm.
He's seen those defenses. He's seen the exotic blitz pressures that they bring from everywhere. So he's seen it. That's something that Connor Harrell hasn't. He hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they disguise, defenses are really good at disguising now. He might be tricked a little easier than Max Johnson. So I mean, you want a rookie, pretty much. Outside of the ball game. Well, he did look nice until he hurt his ankle.
Yeah.
Or do you want somebody that has a little more experience and the ceiling is not quite as high as your backup?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see them both. But
if you saw what?
If you see them both.
See them both.
Oh,
I kind of got that feeling that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's much potential like 2 QB system.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they've done that since Darian Durant, maybe.
I'm not sure. It's been a while.
But I was listening to a story from a beat writer this week. The Jacoby Criswell Drake May battle, quarterback battle.
Yeah.
Sources, not they say it now that everything's done, but they knew who was going to be the starter in spring. But Mac Brown was not coming out to say who the starter was because they were terrified that as soon as they announced Drake May as the starter, Criswell was in the portal. I mean, and you can't blame the guy. But so I mean, they're not going to. I don't think they'll name a starter until the Monday before that Minnesota game. Just so that. Because you already lost Tad Hudson to the portal.
Yeah.
And
they're already looking for one to fill him.
Exactly. So you're already looking. I mean, because injuries do happen. So I mean, I'm sure it is a battle. I don't think they might have an idea, but I don't think they know for sure.
Yeah.
The two media availability practices. You might have seen Connor's best and Max Johnson's worst, but. And the rest of the practices, Max Johnson that you don't see, Max Johnson might be, heads and shoulders above Connor Harrell. We just don't know.
Yeah.
We're not privy to all the information.
Yeah. So, I thought about that too. Maybe during that spring practice, maybe we did see the best of Connor Harrell in the worst of Max Johnson. But then we have to lean on the sources that we do have, and those are the beat writers. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me that I've heard at least one other time that they are allowed to go to practices. They have media availability. They're able to go to practices. Mm-hmm. And the same story came out again. That, man, Connor looked great. Max looked a little shaky, but Connor looked great. So my question is, I wonder what's happening on a day-to-day basis, because is it a coincidence that's 2 great days for Connor, or is it something that we should just look into a little bit more? Like, hey, maybe this thing is, not as so set in stone as we see. And I do think you brought up the exotic pressures, and it made me think of this, and literally right now. But thinking about it, maybe it's a good thing Jeff Collins is here to help Connor Harrell, because if he's going to be bringing those types of pressures, and he's coached in the SEC with Florida, the Minister of Mayhem in Florida. And one other place I can't remember exactly. But if he is bringing that type of style of defense to North Carolina, it's a good thing that they're splitting the reps. That way, Connor can get a feel for what that's like. Yeah, if that's what they're doing. But now, obviously, not everybody.
I'm gonna leave this for you to chew on because I got to jump off.
Okay.
Max Johnson. Okay, we'll start with Connor Harrell. Connor Harrell has been in Chip Lindsey's system for this is be his second season.
Yes.
So it could be that the timing with the receivers and exactly where the receivers are cutting. I mean, of course, it's still just throwing the ball, but it's still something that Max Johnson has to acquire and learn where and when, time and target where they want the ball to be delivered to. You know what I'm saying? So it could be, Max Johnson has to play catch up just a touch to where Connor Harrell kind of already knows, has some cohesiveness with these receivers, and knows when and where to deliver the ball in the system that Chip Lindsey's playing in.
Very well, kind of like devil's advocate there. Kind of like my point, but just flipped. That makes sense though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll leave that with y'all. I'm gonna go order me some egg and cheese biscuits, and
that's it.
As always, go
Have
Heels.
a good time, brother.
Go Heels,
hey,
y'all. We appreciate
y'all boys
you.
enjoy yourself. No,
yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good time.
All right. And there we have it, man. Good to have Alan in. And I like that little food for thought. Let's get your opinion on it. You've heard both. You heard my opinion. You heard his. What do you think? It's basically the same opinion, just flip for either quarterback. What you think, man?
Yeah, I like he brought up that point that he does have the cohesiveness, and that you even said something about which quarterback can be has the chemistry with their receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the guy that has the relationship, that type of relationship with the receivers, is the guy. But to me, it's still so close. I mean, you cannot give up on experience. Experience is everything. That's what it's about, and that's why it's so close. Just like the head coach Matt Brown, he said, you got to lay the eyes on them. You got to see them. You got to see what they're doing. You got to you got to show them those looks. You got to show get that defense on them. But I mean, to your brother's point, that's a very key factor in determining, who's going to be QB1. Like that's very important. And
I like that. I think he's spot on with it because Connor is getting the experience with the Jeff Collins that's going to bring like you said, these exotic pressures. Is going to bring a high-level defense. He's produced high-level defenses everywhere that he's been. So if he's bringing that, he's going to be able to bring that to Connor and show him what it's like to face that. So it's going to give him a little bit more of experience there. But the longer Max is in the system, in the Chip Lindsey system, he's going to start to get that timing down with his receivers, which has been an issue, as we've heard. So curious to see. This is going to come down, I think, to the final few weeks of fall practice there going into the start of the Minnesota game. So I like this story, guys. And even kind of spelt the name wrong there, man.
Yeah,
wow.
It's okay. As long as you don't put the I on there, we're good.
You know what? That's actually a good idea. I should do that.
No, don't do that. See, you're going too far, brother. Not in Chapel Hill, man.
Not in Chapel Hill, man. Not in Chapel Hill. But, man, honestly, give me your overall expectations going into. So we're gonna wrap this thing up into a bow. I want you to hit me with what are your expectations for the game, and what do you want to see from this team, and what do you want to walk away saying about the team when we leave Chapel Hill this afternoon?
Man, I want to see these guys full of energy. I want to see these guys get after it. I want to see the battles, defensive and offensive line. I want to see those battles. I want to see these guys showing us that, hey, we're the ones that they called in. We're the guys that that they picked. We're supposed to be here, and we're going to produce. I want to see that. I want to see the energy. I want to feel that. I think I want to see the quarterbacks compete. Like you said, I think it's going to lead all the way up to right before the game. I want to see, what are some of the weaknesses. I want to see those for myself. What are some of those strengths? I want to see all that. But I want to walk away saying that, hey, these guys are ready to put in that work. They are ready to, they are ready for the preparation. They want to have fun, and they want to take it serious at the same time. I want to see these guys doing that. I want to see these guys with that energy and saying, "Hey, we came to play. Hey, we're a team that's just as good as the top teams in the ACC. Mm-hmm. We're just as good as Florida State. We're just as good as Clemson." I want to walk away saying that those guys are ready to take it to the next level.
Yeah, I want to walk away from today saying that in year 6 of Mac Brown, I believe it'll be the best season that we've had
thus far.
I want to say this is season 6 going into it, I believe will be the best season. Obviously, we won't know if that's the case until the end of the season.
Right.
We won't know that. But, every year we're sold a product. Mack Brown is always the king of the off season. And there's a reason for that. And he knows what he's doing. He understands PR. He understands what everybody, what everybody's going to say, what to tell them to get them hyped. That's why everybody's like, "Oh man, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't drink the Kool-Aid."
That's what you're talking. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
That whole little sentiment there has been widespread, and I want to be able to walk away saying I'm confident in what this team's going to be. We're not going to be able to see everything. We're not going to be able to see it against an opposing team, but you will be able to take something away from it. I want to see the defense playing with an aggression and an energy that we have not seen. I don't want to see it in Chizik's defense. Basically, best way I can describe this. I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe it. But it felt like they waited for everything to happen and then they react. I want them to dictate. I want them to come in and say, spring game or not, we're going to run this show because that's what we are supposed to do. I want the offense to come out and run the damn ball. I want to see that ball be in front. I want to see these wide receivers getting out here in open space and creating space between them and the defenders. I want to see some straight up physical football on both sides, offense and defense, on the blue team, the white team, both quarterbacks. I want to see confidence across the board. And I want to be able to say, I walk away from this team today saying, boy, I can't wait to see what these guys do in fall.
Are they on the right path? That's it. Are they on the right path?
Yeah. And I like the hires. And me and Alan have had this conversation multiple times about the hires Mack Brown has had since he came back. I've given my opinion. He's given his. And I feel like now that we've gotten to the point that we have, the guys with the resumes that they have, we are in a pretty good standing as a staff. I think this is the best staff that Mack Brown's had since he's came back. And now that that's the case, obviously we'll find out how it is. He said last year's staff was going to be pretty good, but everybody still wondered about the Chizik of it all. Now that the Chizik is gone, the Tim Cross is gone, offensive coordinator is there. I think everybody at every single position is right, and it feels good. And it felt like it was only time for the defense to kind of step up now. I want to see depth. We haven't talked about that much in this live stream, and it's something that definitely – and we're going to, screw it. We're going to talk about it now, and then we'll wrap this daggum thing up. I want to see depth because North Carolina, Kamen Rucker cannot go play 900 snaps going into the final 2 games of the regular season again. Neither can Power Eccles. This team needs to have depth. Every top team in the country has depth. Guys that they can call upon and say, hey, go get us a stop, and put them in there and trust them. I want to see depth. I want to see depth on the offensive line. I want to see depth on the defensive line. I want to see it in the secondary. I want to see it at the linebacker position. I want to see it at the running back position, which we're going to have a curious one there. We didn't talk about the running back position, I don't think, at all, just because Omarion Hampton has that locked up. But who's after him? That's a big question. That's a very good question afterwards. But I want to see the depth I want to see these wide receivers show out. I believe that they will. I believe that these wide receivers are really daggum good. And the starters that are out, because there are no tight ends playing today outside of the preferred walk-ons like Deems May and Jake Johnson, I think, might be playing, which is Max's brother. He may be playing. I know he was out at practice the other day, so I don't know if he'll be playing today, but we'll see. Like to see him out there. I want to see the young wide receivers, because I think the young wide receivers are putting some pressure on the starters, because daggum, dude, you better get these starters better get healthy, because those freshmen look good. Paul Billups looks good. I'm excited for that, and I'm ready to see what happens there. But I'm looking forward to this game. I don't want to be let down coming out of here. I don't want, because nobody's talking about the Tar Heels. I'm not saying that they're going to go win the national championship or anything of that nature. I just want to see this team look as they should, given the talent that they have and the coaches they have in place, and given Mack Brown is a Hall of Fame head coach, and he's got some pull, you can definitely see, but I think they've done really well in the portal. I think they've done really well in recruitment, and I want to see this team put this stuff together because we've been waiting on it for 5 years. This is year 6. It has to happen now. It has to happen now. And I'll see Alan put up something here. I'll quickly show it to you guys, as I'd like to see this defense fly around at the spring game. Well, buddy, I'll try and record it as much as I can for you and send it that way. That way maybe you can see. But if you are in Chapel Hill and you happen to run into us, come say hey, say hello, say what's up. We'd love to meet you guys. Absolutely looking forward to it. This is the first time Tori's been with us here on the Hill Brothers. Maybe we'll see him out here in the future. He's going to go have some fun with me out here in Chapel Hill. We're going to break this whole set down, which doesn't take long at all. Should we run down what's happened over the last 14 hours?
Real quick, man.
We'll run over. Okay. So this is the first ever live show that we've ever done away from any, like, outside, any type of normal setting. You know, we've done live shows before at my normal setup at the house. But this is the first one we've ever done away. So we're 3 hours away from home. So it means I'm 3 hours away from my normal place. So, you know, as we're packing everything, you know, a couple of things that we know that we need is, number one, we need a power source.
Yep.
So we don't have a power source. So that, and we needed internet/hotspot. So, Alan says, do it. Here we go. So maybe he's catching up to us now. So
yeah.
Last night, so it's been a kind of an interesting back and forth. We didn't know where we was going to do the show. As a matter of fact, we didn't know he was going to do the show here until we woke up this morning and got here.
Yeah.
That's why we got up kind of early and got up here for sure. And so we finally got into Moorhead and got parked here. But last night, I knew I needed a generator of some sort, a power source. And here we go. It's just funny listening, like reliving all this crap. So I knew I needed a power source, and I knew I needed internet. Well, I was going to go through AT&T, my wireless service provider, to give me to do a hotspot, but it was super expensive. And I got to realizing I have a hotspot on my phone. I didn't know if it was unlimited though. And then Tori said, "Hey, my hotspot is unlimited." I'm like, "Well, shoot, there we go. That's good.
Yes,
we can run that." I said, "Okay, we need a power source." My good buddy and good friend, Mr. Philip Plyler, looked to help me out. He had a generator. He says, "Hey, man, I got you." So me and Alan work UPS, right? So we're driving. I'm coming back home because last night when I came back home, which I knew I was going to get home and everything around 6 o'clock, be ready by 6:30, get a shower, get everything packed. And then he was going to meet me at my house at 6:30. We were going to leave and go to Philip's house and we're going to go to my dad's house to get some of the equipment. And then got a bus coming up right here next to us. Star Hill Transit, baby. But I was going to get the generator from Philip's house, and then we was going to be on our way. Well, this time we got to my dad's house around 7 o'clock.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
7:30, something like that. 7 o'clock. I remember I sent a text over to Philip. Story time from Alan. Alan down there in the comments. So we get to get to Dad's house. We have everything we need. We have everything that you see here plus more. And the only thing we need now is the generator. We're good. I got a gas can, filled it up with gas, filled my truck up with gas, got over to his house. Well, let me reel it back. As I'm driving back to our building, our dispatch building, in my UPS truck, I get a text from Philip. He says, "Hey, man," and this is right around 6:15. Or no, sorry, about 5:45. He texted me this. He says, "Hey, man, I can't get the generator started." I said, "What?" He says, "Yeah, dude, it hasn't been cranked up since last summer."
I think he said 6 months.
Yeah, so 6 months. And he says, "I think it's got some bad gas in it." So if you know anything about gas or carburetors, if you don't put a stabilizer in there like Sta-Bil I use all the time in my gas, it can gum up a carburetor where you will not be able to crank nothing for jack, baby. You won't be able. You'll just sit there and yank. This is why everybody with the push mowers just sits there and gets pissed off, and with the weed eaters and they don't crank. That's generally probably why. But so I'm like, crap. I said, I got some fresh gas. I said, let me see if I can't. We'll drain out the old gas, cycle through some new, and see if we can't get this thing to start. He says, okay, cool. So he drained out the old gas. Got to his house. We got over to his house around 7:15. Got everything packed up. We're ready to go. And 3 hours, mind you, to Chapel Hill from there. So we get there. I pour the new gas in. And all three of us sit there just yanking that sunk. Just sitting there.
Yanking.
Now, when I rolled up, I thought he had a smaller generator. Something generally like...
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
this thing's freaking huge.
About this big, yeah.
It was
I'm talking about-
like I was gonna put it. So obviously, with my equipment, I need to put it in my truck while we're away, right? So, yeah, I trust Harold more than Johnson too. They're talking run anyway. So, I thought like, okay, like I can put the generator in my front seat of my truck because I don't have a tonneau cover, I don't have a trailer or anything with me, and we need to park so that way nothing gets stolen. You know, nobody wants to steal a generator, right? Well, I get there, I'm starting to think in my head, like, number one, we got to get this thing cranked up. Number two, where the flip am I going to put this thing? Because it's not going to fit in my truck. It's way too big to go in the inside of my truck. So we're sitting there and we sit there. It gets to about 8:30. 3 hours to Chapel Hill. That's 11:30, right? And we say, screw it. And I'm like, what the flip am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? So we're looking up generators, Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart. And Philip told us about an inverter, and I'm like, I don't really want to have my truck on. I've never done any of that before with the inverters that you put into like your DC charger, in your vehicles, and you run power outlets out of that. I've never done that, and I didn't really want to do that, honestly. So I'm like, well, if we have to, that's what I'll do. And they were cheaper. They're like $15-20. Keep that in mind. Okay, so they're about $15-20, but I'm like, you know what? Let's look. And I saw this thing called a power station. Saw a Westinghouse one and everything. We got to looking, and we saw like, okay, we can hit these Lowe's and Home Depots on the way up there.
Yep.
So I'm looking for places. He's calling Home Depot and Lowe's as I'm driving. I'm driving towards like where I need to be, and we finally come across. It's an Ego 400-watt power station. We're like, hot dog, here we go. And it said it was $150. I'm like, okay, sweet. We'll go in there. We'll knock that out. We get up to a place called Ballantyne in North Carolina. It's below Charlotte. And we get up there. It's a Lowe's. Now, this is, what time was it? 9:30 we got up there. We got there at 9:30. Now, Lowe's closes at 10, right? We get up there about 9:25, 9:30. And we see the inverter, like, hey, hot dog, here we go. It's behind a locked gate. Cool. So we're starting to look around, trying to find people. And, Tori walks back up to me, and I just happened to look at the stupid box. I would get it right now, but I'm not getting in the back of my truck. But I happened to look at the stupid box, and it said that it showed charger not included. I said, charger? What are you talking about? I'm thinking like, it's a power station. You charge that thing, like it has a cord of some sort that you plug into the wall and charge it, and then you use it, right? Because it had the outlets and everything in that we're using right now. And I may get Tori to like do the like tilt the camera over there a little bit, that way we can see it. But I'll show you guys at the very end of the story time. So anywho, so I see that and I look at Tori. I said, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me!" So I start looking this thing up. Well, on top of it, you could see where there was some type of, looked like a drill battery would go. I'm thinking you would charge a drill on the go.
Yeah.
No. There's this massive battery pack that has to go on top, and then you slide it on, and it powers the inverter.
Right.
Guess what they don't have in stock? This charging station, this whole battery pack. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me here.
Don't have it at all.
I said, Tori, look it up. We're still trying to get this sum gun unlocked to get the inverter. Guess what? Tori says, "Oh, I found it." He says, "Yeah." I said, "How much is it?" He says, $170. I said, "You got to be kidding me."
So the station is 150, but the battery with the charger is 170.
Yeah, the battery, it's a starter kit. You get the battery pack that has to go on top of the inverter to power the inverter, and you get the charger for that battery pack for $170. Well, we thought, hold on a minute. We thought, oh my God, this is so stupid. Anywho, I love it still. People are still like watching this. I love this so much. Anyway, so we're sitting there and I'm like, well, they don't have the starter pack. So what the flip do I do?
Look up another Lowe's.
We look up another Lowe's. I find a Lowe's 10 minutes down the road. Now it's about 9:35 at this point in time. Lowe's closes at 10. We get, I see it and it says 6 in stock. I said, okay. I said, well, we can hurry the flip up and get out of here if they'll unlock the stupid cage and check me out.
And that took about 10, 15 minutes just to unlock it.
So I found that. We finally get somebody out there. I got checked out and it was 9:41. 10 minutes to Lowe's, given there's no traffic.
Right.
9:51, it says I get there. They close at 10. I get in the truck and I just book it all the way to this next. I have to hop on 485, hop on to 74. I'm in Matthews, North Carolina. I finally get to the place. It's 9:52 when we get out of the truck. I book it again. I run into the daggum thing. I saw on the app it said aisle location 29, bay 3. I get there. Sure enough, boom, there it is. The battery pack, the starter kit. Here we go. $179. Grab it. We haul tail to the daggum checkout registers. It's like 9:55, 9:56. I'm like, okay, I made it. Here we go. I ring it up. Now it was $179. Tori, what did it ring up as?
$199.
$200. I looked at the lady. I said, ma'am, this thing online says it was $179. She says, you have a picture of it? I said, no. She said, do you have the item number? I said, yeah. So Tori looked it up. And sure enough, by God, I tell you, we're sitting there.
Good morning.
And good morning to you, man. The item number doesn't match up. But it was sitting in the 179 spot.
Right.
I said, hold on a second. Let me go over here and I'll go get it. I walked back over there. It had a security monitor on it. And it was beeping when we got to the self-checkout. So she took the security monitor off the one that we had that went up to run $199. And I walk all the way back over there. And sure enough, I didn't realize it, but it was the literally only one in stock. Like, mother.
They lied to us.
So I turn around. Tori comes back. The lady put the security monitor back on it. He walks over to me. Tori's like, huh? Like, what are you doing? Why are you coming back empty-handed? I said, walk back to the register. I said, it's literally the only one. I walk over there. The lady looks at me. She just starts like, I said, it's the only one. I have to get it. I think we rounded up after tax and everything. It was like, yeah, after tax, like total for the entire purchase, about $373 later.
Yeah, for everything.
For everything, I finally got a battery pack system to be able to run this here show today, and it has been amazing. And I absolutely love this thing. It has been a trooper, and you know what? We'll kind of give it a little bit of airtime because that gum it deserves it after today. Let me move this up here so you guys can see this thing here. So this, let me move my microphone so people can see that. This right here, the bottom part is the inverter. This was the $150 part. We'll break down prices and everything. This is an ad spot for Ego. If you know that it's just free for them today. So this is the inverter that we bought. You see, I've got my charging port, Tori's charging port for his phone, and then this is the audio mixer. That's all I need to plug in. Alan says, "Go fund us." Hold on a I love you, brother. Oh my God. Oh my God. So, anywho, This is the battery pack. Now, the charger is actually in the bed of my truck here, but this was the $179 part. It's a battery pack. We had it charging all night in the hotel. We ended up, oh, yeah, so I didn't even do time slots. We ended up, so we got to Philip's house at 8:30. That would have put us here at 11:30. Then we had to go searching. We ended up here. We got into our hotel room. I took a picture and put it on the YouTube page on the community section. We got here at 1:14 in the morning. 1:14 in the morning. We got up to Chapel Hill. So basically, I say all this to say this. I love you guys. I really appreciate everything you do here for the Hill Brothers. If you're listening to this story and you haven't subscribed, please do that. Hit the like button. We really appreciate it. It's been an absolute experience. Now the fun part is we get to break this thing down and we get to have fun. We get to chill out, go to Franklin, get us something to eat, and just enjoy everything. Go check out some shops, and we'll have a lot of content coming out of this for you guys. But I want to say thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Tori, any final words for the peoples? The peoples.
We made it, man. We made it. Yeah, man. But I thank y'all for checking Hill Brothers out, man, and looking at us and them, and keep supporting. That's what it's about. Support.
Absolutely, man. We absolutely appreciate everything you guys do. We try to give you guys the best content that we possibly can. We got some cool things coming up. This was something I was looking forward to. We've been talking about this for a month now?
Yeah,
a month or so, and it's been a work in progress all the way up to the time we went live. I need some Raising Cane's. Well, buddy, it's up here. So you and Ashley and Bryson, y'all just hop in the truck. Y'all come up this way and you'll make it 3 hours. You'll make it here at 2:00. There you go. So it's good stuff too. Who knows? We might roll over there. Might take them over to Sutton's. Don't know yet. We'll figure out. We'll figure out what to do with him, because Tori still has a lot to see here in the Hill and a lot to experience. So they went to Tropical Smoothie. I love that place. Shout out. Anyway, Chapel Hill, baby. I'm glad we were able to get this spot right here at the planetarium and everything. This is where we used to park all the time. Now bring it to me. I'm not bringing you cold 3-hour drive Raising Cane's. No, sorry, buddy. I love you, but I'm good. We get up. Anyway, so yeah, but good time. We had a great place. Great weather today. It's beautiful. And man, I have absolutely enjoyed this and can't wait to do future stuff like this, and some different things during the football season. I want to do some grill out, and I want us to have a good time, grill out, watch a game, do a live watch party on the back deck of a grill. Just throwing that out there. I think that'd be pretty hot. I think Alan would be down for that, especially if we can get the pool opened up. Wow. Yeah. I'm gonna use that for what the idea I had, not for what I know what he's talking about here. But yeah, man, absolutely appreciate this. Looking forward to it. Great spring game today. Keep tuned to the Hill Brothers. We're gonna have some great content coming up pretty soon. Breakdown of what's happened in the spring game and what we think going forward. And Tori, we'll have you on again in the very near future. I have a feeling. I got something up my sleeve with that too. Anyway, that's something you don't know about yet. But
every time.
All the time, baby. All the time. All the ideas. Anyway, if you like the merch, you saw Alan wearing his. We are currently in the process of testing out samples from different print-on-demand companies to bring you guys some Hill Brothers merch. We've saw comments about it, and with the rapid growth of the channel over the last couple of weeks, man, we just, number one, we appreciate you guys, and we really appreciate what you guys are doing, and we see those numbers continuously going up, and we want to bring you not only some great content, but also some great merch that you could potentially wear if you want to rep us. We absolutely appreciate it. Never would I ever think that a brand that I would be associated with would have a t-shirt, would have some type of merchandise, but it's cool. It's amazing. We're thankful to have this opportunity to be able to do this. We're thankful that there's people out there that even want anything with our branding on it. It's so dumb, but I love it. I love it so much, man. We're blessed to be able to do it. So we're going to continue moving forward, looking forward to it, and great times. Great to be a part of the College Huddle too. So many things happening there. There's just so much to shout out, but we're going to hop out of here. We're going to have a good time in Chapel Hill. Thank you all for watching. If you're in Chapel Hill and you see us, be sure and hit us up, say what's up. and we'd love to chat with you. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. And as always, go Heels.
You don't want none.
I'm good, I was need, I got it, I was need, I was dying, I was need, I got